Good morning. I'm coming to you from my vacation time because there has been some breaking news. So I'm going to throw up a couple of shows this week. The first topic I have to talk about comes from a very dear friend of mine. His name is Joe, and he lives in Georgia. And he was suspended from Facebook for 48 hours because of what was considered by the Facebook censorship committee as hate speech on Facebook. Now, this is what I feared when government started getting involved with our Facebook. I did not read what Joe wrote. He sent me an email because he could not communicate on Facebook for several days. He sent me an email and explained it to me. And look, I've known Joe for 12 years, almost 13 now. I met him back before Facebook even existed, before either of us were here. Joe runs two amazing Facebook pages, Barney for President and Dog Lives Matter. He just started that one. He's a good person. He is an elderly soul. He is in his 70s now. He buried his wife, his beloved Bunny, because she suffered from lung cancer. That's where I first met Joe, on WebMD. He's a good person. Yes, he and I disagree on some political views, especially about Muslims, and that is where he got into some trouble last week. Many times over the past several years where we were on Facebook together, Joe has made some comments on things that I have written or things I have talked about, and I have had to delete those posts because I thought they were not technically appropriate for the people who were responding to my post. They were a little offensive, but that was fine. I made the choice, and I told him, I said, Joe, you know what? I understand your feelings. It's your First Amendment right to feel this way, and many other Americans agree with you as far as Muslims go because of 9/11. But I really don't think that comment was appropriate. So I made the decision. I didn't ban him. I didn't block him. I didn't unfriend him. I just said this post isn't appropriate for this comment. I didn't report him to the Facebook police because that's Joe. It's his opinion. It's just like I live right now in a place where some people don't like black people. And I know I'm going to hear words over this next 6 or 7 weeks that I don't like. I'm going to hear the N-word. I walk out my back door and someone is flying the Confederate flag, and I have to be honest with you, it makes me sick to see that. But I can't do anything about it. It's their First Amendment right. Just as it is Joe's First Amendment right to disagree with a religion that he believes is anti-American and attacked our country on 9/11. Now look, the funniest thing to me is that what Joe believes and how he feels kind of is the way our own president feels about Muslims. We know what he did the first days in office. He was tweeting all kinds of crap about Muslims and banning people from coming into our country, even to visit their families. If they came from certain countries, all of which happened to be Muslim, nobody put him in Twitter jail. Nobody will dare block the president from his Twitter account because he tweets hate speech every single minute of every single day since he's come into office and even before. He attacks people for the way they look. He attacks people for the religion they practice. He attacks Carly Fiorina because she's too ugly to be president. And nobody polices the president for his hate speech on social media. But my dear friend Joe, who simply has been through hell and back, burying his wife, losing his home because his landlord had a vendetta against him, having to move from the only home he ever knew, the home he shared with his beloved wife. He wanted to spend his dying days there and he couldn't. He loves his dogs so much that one actually ran for president and got some votes. I helped with that campaign, Barney for president. He gets censored on Facebook. And see, this is scary because this is a slippery slope. I mean, I have done shows and written blogs about my Greek Orthodox religion. And I have called them out for things that I don't agree with in that religion, things that have hurt me deeply and hurt my husband deeply and my mother deeply. I don't believe that is hate speech, although some Greek Orthodox people would consider it hate speech, but it's not. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for any kind of crime to be committed. I'm simply pointing out things that make no sense, that hurt both the church and the people who want so desperately to be members of the church, but are shunned, are pushed away from the church. The show that I do every day is to push people's buttons, is to make people think, is to bring ideas to the table, and everyone is invited to my table. I always ask for respect when you disagree with someone. Don't criticize them personally. Don't attack something they believe in. Simply attack the ideas and ask questions. Respectful, intellectual questions. But the fact that now, since all these hearings have come up and Mark Zuckerberg was put on the hot seat, and I think it was unfair that he had to go to Congress and spend time testifying, I think that now we are seeing the fruits of that. We're seeing actually the scourge. And now all of us on Facebook, instead of it being a safe place to share ideas and opinions and differences and beliefs and air our differences and ask questions of one another, it has now become a place where we have to watch our P's and Q's. I'm not even sure that once Facebook looks at this show, they will allow it to air. But YouTube will. It'll be on YouTube. And I'll make sure it gets on Twitter too. Because if they're not going to censor the president, they're certainly not going to censor Paula Luciano. They better not, at least. Because I have certainly never gone as far as the president has when I do my shows, or I write blogs, or I even criticize something. I've never called somebody so ugly they have no right running for president as our president has. I have never said that an entire group of people simply based on their religion should be banned from coming into our country or practicing their religion freely, as is their First Amendment right. I have been the one who most often defends the peaceful Muslims that live in our country, who simply want to go about their day and practice their religion just as Christians do, openly and freely, and even try to force their religion on all the rest of us. The Muslims don't do that. And they have been discriminated against. There's no doubt about that. But when I have to listen in my own community to the N-word, to hate speech, and I'm not allowed to say anything about it because it's just the way it is down south. Well, you know what? An hour and a half from here, I'm up north, and I don't hear that word. So I'm not in the deep south here, and I don't think I should hear that word, and it does make me angry. It does make me upset to see the Confederate flag waving proudly on people's homes. Because I don't like the Confederate flag. But there's nothing I can do about it. It is their First Amendment right. And that's fine. But then it should also be fine for my friend Joe. You know I love you, brother. Brother from another mother. I'm his sister from another mister. It is his right, too. If 9/11 affected him in a way that he is mistrusting of all Muslims. And it's his right to say that. Now, again, I don't know what he said. And I do know that in the past, and I have told him this personally, he has said a few things that were a little over the top. But again, that's his First Amendment right, as long as he is not telling people to commit crimes against anyone or violence against anyone, and Joe has never done that. This is what scared me when the congressional hearings started with Facebook, and when Congress seemed to think that the government now has a right to police Facebook. I think right now Facebook executives and the people who police Facebook and its content are sitting on pins and needles, and they're afraid of another shoe dropping. And I understand that. But if you change Facebook to the point where people are afraid to use their First Amendment right to free speech, to make comments on things they don't agree with, then what's the point of even having Facebook anymore? If Facebook is going to turn into a family thing where all we're going to see is pictures of little babies and little children playing and romping in the grass and children eating hot dogs on a hot summer day, I'm not going to stay on Facebook. It's going to be boring. If all we're going to see is people's vacation pictures and, oh, look, we just got married, yippee-ki-yay. I don't use Facebook for that. I don't care if my fourth cousin, who I haven't talked to or seen in 10 years, if her kid is graduating from middle school. I don't care. I care about what I use Facebook for. My beautiful show that all of you have supported. My right to talk about current events and give my opinions, whether you agree or disagree. That's how I use Facebook, and that's the only reason I enjoy Facebook. So if it's going to turn into kumbaya and everybody has to love everybody else and nobody's allowed to say anything against anybody else because they're going to go to Facebook jail, as Joe calls it, you know what? I'll willingly delete my Facebook account. Because I don't come on Facebook to see pictures of romping children and graduation pictures and prom pictures. I come on Facebook to meet new people who are different than me. I come on Facebook to talk about things that are important to all of us that are going on in our country. And yes, I come onto Facebook when I think the government is overstepping and impeding our rights. And that's what my next show is going to be about. Unless I end up in Facebook jail. That's okay. I've got 2 other Facebook accounts. And my husband has a Facebook account. So his name's Jason Luciano. If you want to friend him just in case, go ahead. I'll just put my show on his account. Because he's never done anything wrong. Now, he won't let me do that. Remember, we had to get a Facebook divorce because he was looking for a job and he didn't want anybody interviewing him to know his wife is political Paula. Because job interviewers, see, they get to spy on you on Facebook, and nobody's stopping that. I think that should actually be illegal, by the way. Anybody agree that an employer should not be able to use your Facebook posts against you when you're interviewing for a job to feed your family? I think Facebook should be off limits to job employers. Oh, well, just me. I'm not into censorship. I'm into the First Amendment. So, Joe, welcome back to Facebook. I know you're going to be feeling a little nervous and a little paranoid for the next few weeks, but please don't ever lose your good mind and your good heart. I know you do have a good heart. I know where some of your opinions come from and why. But yeah, you're going to have to stay under the radar for a little bit. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that in America, on a media network that Donald Trump abuses regularly and doesn't get in trouble for, that you, my dear friend, 70 years old, just trying to live your life in Georgia on Social Security with your 2 beautiful dogs, Barney and Zoe, that you had to go through this. And I hope nobody else has to go through this, including yours truly. As you can see, I was not planning to do a show. I don't even have a black Sharpie. I have a turquoise Sharpie, but it goes with the beach theme. So, hey, you know what? It's time for me to go work on my tan. I am the whitest person in this park right now, and I need to get some sun. So, I hope you enjoy this show. I will be doing one more because there was another breaking news story. I know it didn't occur in England. I really didn't care about the fact that two people I will never meet got married on Saturday. You know, good for them. Yay. Kind of interesting, though. I did pick Bravazzo to win show or place, and he came in second, so in the Preakness. So that was pretty cool. Couldn't see him because of the fog, but it was cool. I didn't bet any money, but I always like to be right. And I did, somehow I just liked Bravazzo. Of course, I liked Quip, too, because it was named after my favorite bar in Lancaster, Quip's. He didn't do so well. But he did better than Thundersnow, which is the guy I had for the Derby. That was the horse for the Derby last year. He didn't even finish, so I am doing a little bit better with my horse racing. Maybe for Belmont, I mean, you know, I'm not going to bet Justify because that actually you lose money if you bet on Justify. But I'll find some other horse whose name I like, and we'll see if he wins shows or places. So that's it for me for today. I got to get back to my vacation. It's been great so far. Love shows and grows. The First Amendment is still the First Amendment. Let's please all fight to keep it and to protect it. Because if Joe can lose it, we can all lose it. And I knew this was going to happen. I was afraid of it. The second they started calling Facebook into the Congress to testify, I knew we were in trouble. And here we are. For now, hope you all see this. Political Paula is out.